Hello, how are you? I hope you are okay, fine at home, taking care of yourself and your beloved ones. Welcome to our second week of our academic elective course, Global and Ethical Issues in Cyberspace. In this unit, week number two, and in this particular unit, we are going to talk about professional ethics, codes of ethics, and responsibility. The main objective is to determine the extent to which computer or IT professionals should be responsible for ethical and moral situations when using computers, technology, internet, etc. And of course, as teachers, we are part of that special population of professionals who use technology in their for their professional purposes, for their professional work, for their professional life. We are going to talk a little bit about what professional ethics is, what professional codes of ethics are. We are also going to talk about moral responsibility, legal liability, and accountability. And based on that, you will have to choose two activities. Either you do a Prezi presentation about our topics, or based on the materials, you do an essay, a three-paragraph essay. Okay, let me share with you what we have. So we have activity two, the essay, activity three, the cartoon, and we'll talk about that later on. Right now, what I want to share with you is the resources or the recursos in Spanish. When you access this section of our online course, remember that here you have access to well, not all, to some of the chapters from the book Ethics and Technology, Controversies, Questions and Strategies for Ethical Computing, fourth edition. And if you want, you can go to Unit 4 in that book and read it. You can go over the whole material, or the recommendation, the suggestion is that you use the PPT presentation that I have put together for you so that you can use it as a reference. Of course, if you want to expand, to consolidate, go to the book, read chapter 4. But I think that I did a pretty good job at summarizing the content from chapter 4. So my recommendation is that you click here on the PPT presentation of Unit 4 from the book Ethics and Technology, but that for us is the material for our second week. Also, I advise you to have a look at this video about ethics and social responsibility. If you watch the video, I think you will complement some of the main ideas that are explained in this unit and that are the basis for this week. Okay, let's have a look at the PPT presentation. Because of time, I am not going to explain the whole thing. Evidently, my intention is for you to have a general idea, a general overview, but I really invite you to go to the PPT presentation, download it, have a look at it, read it carefully, so that you can understand the context. Anyway, let's start sharing some of the ideas that I have. Initially, as you can see, I start the session sharing with you two cartoons. On the one hand, you have a situation that it's two people who are having difficulties in their marriage. They go to a marriage advisor, and you notice what what the advisor says. He says, "I advise you to take a break from each other and date other people for a while." So, notice what the advisor says. So, what are you doing this evening, if I'm not wrong, is what he says. Okay. So evidently, if you analyze that situation, and notice the use of "What are you doing tonight?" Gorgeous. So if you notice the situation, you might wonder: Is this marriage advisor being ethical? Is he behaving mm, appropriately? Well, the cartoon is making fun of this situation, but it's a good example of professional ethics. On the other hand, we have a similar a professional situation where we can see a boss or a director or a manager talking to his employee, and the conversation is about the following. The local business journal wants to do an article on the 10 most powerful women in our company. Quick, go hire 7 more women. Again, if you analyze this cartoon, it's making fun of a situation related to professional relationships, work environment, companies, but beneath it, you can see some ethical and moral dilemmas. So what this unit and this particular presentation discusses, has to do with the concept of professionalism, the concept of ethics in professions. Let's move on. So, well, here the first concept that we need to discuss is what is professional ethics, particularly professional ethics in relation to information technology, in relation to computers, in relation to the use of internet. It's a field of applied ethics concerned with moral issues that impact computer IT professionals. In other words, it has to do with the analysis, the study, the interpretation of ethical and moral issues when IT, information technology, or computer professionals they get involved with. Some people might agree that it's important to have a specific field of ethics related to computers and IT professionals, particularly because when you use computers, when you use internet, when you use websites, when you use communication and information technology, you have a special or particular ethical and moral obligations with privacy, with security, etc. And also, some people might say that the, the decisions and the actions taken involved when IT or computers professionals work might have some consequences, some impacts on other people, on other professionals. So then the idea that is being defended in this unit, or that is being argued, is that we need professional ethics, particularly when computers, internet, websites, information and communication technology are involved. Now, something else that we need to discuss is, what is a profession? What is a professional? Well, the concept of profession has evolved. It started some years ago, connected with the idea of religious or monastic life, different from, because it was about the idea of professing faith. Now we know that a profession is not connected to religious or monastic life anymore, but it's a vocation where a person makes a public promise to enter a particular occupation, to be skillful, to be knowledgeable in that profession. Now, profession, well, has other connotations. Davis, 2015, talks about 4: vocation or calling, occupation, honest occupation that you admit openly, and a special kind of honest occupation. But if you notice, basically, profession, the senses of profession are associated to occupation. What occupies our working life, our life, or the life that we have when we work, when we enter the working world. Okay, let's move on. Professionals then are those people who belong to a profession, and as a consequence, they should have certain attributes, certain characteristics, and at the same time follow certain standards, fulfill certain requirements. So think about doctors, think about lawyers, think about nurses, think about teachers. We should have certain attributes, certain characteristics, and at the same time, we should fulfill or follow certain standards, certain requirements. Now, those standards and those characteristics are not the same for ordinary individuals, for people in everyday life. They are different. So, a professional has particular roles, particular responsibilities based on the occupation that he has decided to adopt, to follow in his or her professional life. Let's move on. So, who is a computer IT professional? So, it's anybody, any person who works in the computer IT, information technology, or information communication fields. Now, we can extend this definition because anybody who uses computers, information and communication technology, websites, internet, would be a computer IT professional. Not because we know how to design computers or how to make information and communication devices, no, but because they, in computers, internet, information and communication devices are the basis of our work, or are very substantial, are very important in what we do. Okay, let's continue. Now, why is it important to talk about the responsibilities of computers and IT professionals? Well, because number one, any person who can use a computer or information and technology devices or websites or the internet, they can do good or they can cause harm, or they can enable others to do good or to cause harm, or they can influence others to do good or to cause harm. So in the case of teachers, we as teachers, we can do good or cause harm when, for example, we use information that does not belong to us. Or we can enable our students to, for example, download books or presentations or videos without respecting the copyright. Or we can influence colleagues, students, people around us to do good or cause harm using computers, internet, technology. So we have special responsibilities. Now, because of those special responsibilities, it is important to have or to establish codes of ethics. What is a code of ethics? It is a guide that an association establishes for its member. Here you have some examples: the American Medical Association, or here in our case, when we belong to a university, to a school, we have a code of conduct, a code of ethics that it's created to regulate what we do, what we say, and sometimes also to establish regulations, rewards, punishments, etc. Now, it is important to talk about the uses of professional codes of ethics: inspire, guide, educate, and discipline the members of a particular profession. We're going to stop here. We're going to continue in the second video. So let's see in the second video. Let's see.